protein is the one macronutrient. If you increase it, if you're deficient, that is, it will change your life. When I say that, a lot of people think, oh, I don't want to be a gym bro. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to be big and jacked. We're not saying that adding more protein to your diet will make you jacked. It'll make you more toned. Who doesn't want to look more toned?
When ladies sometimes talk to PTs, it can go lost that they just want to get stronger. The way you get stronger is whole body strongness and whole body's firmness. So the way you do it, you have to do everything, and then you can isolate in these focused areas.
Genetics determines how your body shapes itself. You know, it can determine like what areas of your body will grow easier. That doesn't mean though that because you see a female or male influencer that looks incredible to the eyes of 10 million plus people that watch them, doesn't mean that you can't get in great shape yourself, and your body shape might very well be the most attractive body shape in a million people's eyes. Welcome back to the PerformWell podcast. This is the podcast for you if you're looking for performance and wellness optimization so that you can not only smash your career but also have a better life, better relationships and better health. We believe that performance and wellness are yin and yang and work together. So listen in as we dive into topics that are going to help you optimize your life for the better. Are you genetically doomed when it comes to getting in shape? Today's topic is all about genetics. All right, we're going to talk about bone structure, metabolism, ectomorph, endomorph, cellulitis.
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 Cellulite.
Today is everything about genetics, and do genetics stop you from getting in the best shape possible? And we're also going to compare a little natty or not segment about popular fitness influencers, whether they are actually natural or not.
Yeah, this came off the back of the last podcast that we did, or one of the last podcasts that we did, one before this. And you guys seem to enjoy that kind of stuff, so we're going to go into a little bit of detail about it. Starting off with bone structure, I think bone structure plays a big role in how people feel. Do you remember the whole hip dips phenomenon that went down a few years ago?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean phenomenon?
There wasn't really much spoken about hip dips.
It's still a thing.
It's still a thing, I know. But it really ramped up for a short period of time. Yeah, because everyone's you can do these exercises. It got to that point in time where it was like the thing that was trending over social media is get rid of your hip dips. This is Chloe Ting.
Chloe Ting, sorry mate. Chloe Ting, who's that?
Chloe Ting is she's the lady who did the 2-week ab workout that will give you abs.
Oh, right.
I think I've mentioned her on so many podcasts, and a lot of the ladies who watch this are going to be like, I remember Chloe Ting because I did her like...
But do none of you remember Six Pack Shortcuts guy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on it.
But Chloe Ting is like the female version of Six Pack, Mike Chang.
Yeah.
Like they do the same thing. They do these kind of little workout
Mike Chang,
structures.
That you're not.
Not.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
He's not amazing. Like genetically, he's gifted, which is what we're going to talk about today.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What we should talk about, first of all, is on the topic of bone structure, ectomorphs, endomorphs, mesomorphs. Mm-hmm. Now, for those that don't know what that is, an ectomorph, typically skinnier, bit like me, very tall, lanky, very thin wrists. Don't know if you've got thin wrists yourself, but we tend to find it harder to gain muscle, very easy to lose fat.
Yeah.
On the other side of the spectrum, we have Dan, endomorph. No, I'm joking, not an endomorph. Dan's not an endomorph. Endomorphs are typically fatter, more round, bulkier, tend to have stronger and bigger bone structure. They tend to find it harder to lose fat. And then mesos are in the middle. Typical bodybuilder shape that you would imagine most people.
The triangular one. I think if you're trying to think of an ectomorph, it is somebody who just carries a lot of weight around their abdomen. It's just an unfortunate... Endo. Yeah. But you can also get cross comparisons between these, so don't think these are definitively the only types of body types that there are out there, because you can obviously get ectos that are slightly endo, and you can get like mesos that are think of rugby players. Rugby are like meso-ecto, and I think it's an easy way to look at those different structures, because if you're thinking, okay, I'm thinking a mesomorph would be like a second row, a prop would be your endomorph, an ectomorph would be your center, if people watch rugby. Then you'll understand what I'm on about.
Rugby teams literally have the whole mix.
They do. They have everything.
Yeah.
And then you've got like really short, stocky players too when they're playing down the wings.
That being said, though, like arguably, if you look at us as a kid, like you looked very much like an ecto.
Yeah, I did.
As a kid.
Yeah.
But as you obviously bulked up, you don't look as much of an ecto anymore. And I'm almost the same. I think I'm a little bit more ecto looking than potentially you might be now. Mm-hmm. But it goes to show that you don't have to stay in that genetic lane necessarily.
No, I think that's the thing. It changes over time and it changes with your environment, because a lot of the time people can think they are predisposed to these conditions. Like tall people can think they're always going to be lanky. Shorter people, they think they're always going to be stocky. And if they carry muscle, they end up looking a bit like a hunched over bowling ball. But like, I think at the end of the day, you've got to understand that it is very much dependent on what you end up doing at the end of the day. Like, you have this predisposed structure to your body. Like, we spoke about hip dips at the start. You can't control the shape of your pelvis. You cannot control how large your pelvis is. Like, some people who have like desired physiques, you look at them, and a desired physique for, say, a lady would be that kind of thin waist, slightly round, kind of curvy nature to the bum and the glutes, and then they're slightly kind of like, you know, they've got nice arms or something like that. That's normally what they go for. Or very slim built, like an ectomorph, because apparently that's coming back into fashion now.
And when it comes to, like, you know, genetic shape as well, there is this thing called the golden ratio, right? Which is like the perfect aesthetic physique that a female or a male can obtain in order to look the most attractive in terms of like this old Greek law, all right? And it's based on your waist to hip ratio and your waist to shoulder ratio as a man. So as a woman, it would be waist to hip, right? So when you look at female influencers that are very popular on social media, or, you know, including the OnlyFans girls, etc. as well, they're very much accentuating the booty width and the hip width and trying to keep their waist as narrow as possible. And equally, the ones that you see guys at the top of their game tend to have quite broad shoulders and quite narrow waists. That generally is what, you know, people on social media, especially Instagram, tend to gravitate towards.
Do you know why the reason that is that's so attractive to people as well?
What?
Fertility.
Yeah. Well, you mean like wide hips?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wide hips. And also on a man was the stockier and the broader, the higher protective chance the family have of surviving. Again, natural selection comes into at that point in time. But obviously nowadays, we've become so much more cognitively aware that when we look at these body types, we think we have to be those and have to work our arse off to get to that point in time where we look like that. But a lot of people are going to struggle. Like, for example, I could never look like you. And you could never look like me. You know, like, we've got very different body types, very different structures. You carry a lot of muscle around your arms and around your back. Your back is always going to be bigger. My legs, argue, I've got slightly larger legs.
Your ass.
My ass. I knew that was coming. My ass. You will never catch my ass.
That last podcast, everyone mentioned your ass because the first thing in frame was your ass as you come into the seat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I had 6 ladies in my inbox and a gay guy all asked me about Dan's ass and how he got it so big. Genetics, guys, isn't it?
It is. I got my mum's bum.
Yeah.
I got my mum. But I tell you what, great for promo these days.
Yeah. Now, obviously, yeah.
Does that mean I've got like sorry, we were just talking about like childbirthing hips.
Yeah.
Does that mean I've got like a high fertility chance?
Don't know, mate. Maybe. I mean, you were supposed to be a female in another life. But,
yeah, apparently so.
So with that in mind, then obviously genetics determines how your body shapes itself. You know, it can determine like what areas of your body will grow easier than other parts of your body. That doesn't mean though that because you see a female or male influencer that looks incredible to the eyes of, you know, 10 million plus people that watch them, it doesn't mean that you can't get in great shape yourself. And your body shape might very well be the most attractive body shape in a million people's eyes if you expose yourself in the same way that they did. And so you can't compare yourself to people that are at the top of their game or those that are genetically gifted, because a lot of them are on PEDs, performance enhancing drugs. And I've got a list here for you.
Are you ready? Okay.
Well, I've got some males and females because, you know, we obviously want to, you know, help the girls understand this as well. We'll start with the men. So Jeff Seed.
Who?
Jeff Seed. Do you remember Jeff Seed?
Who's Jeff Seed?
Oh, you might be slightly one generation below me on this one.
Describe him.
Well, it says here, naturally aesthetic, crazy muscle insertions. Not really sure how to go with that, but he's got mop-like hair, slightly on the longer side. He did obviously cut it short at one point as well, but he's known for longer hair, quite jacked bodybuilder type. Says he's natural, obviously not.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't know who he is. So let's move on. You know David Lade?
Yes, I know David Lade. Yes,
What do you reckon?
He's a Gymshark athlete. I don't know if he's still a Gymshark athlete. There's always been a lot of speculation around David Lade.
Yeah.
I actually do think David Lade's natural.
Well, he's a classic ecto.
Yeah.
So for his size, you know, is it possible?
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
But I think for how long he's trained as well, because how old's David Lade now? 27, 28?
I don't know.
He's been in the industry for quite a while.
He's getting on a bit. He's younger than me, slightly.
So he's probably in my age bracket then.
He's probably close to 30 now.
Yeah, so he's in between us both then.
Yeah.
I think David Lade's natural. I think just he's very genetically gifted in the way that he's also trained hard. Like, I don't take it away. He bloody trains hard, because I've seen videos of him training like with Matt Does Fitness and stuff like that. And I think he's done really, really well in improving his physique over time to fit his structure. And I think that's one thing you have to take into account is look at your current physique and the areas of weakness. For example, say you don't naturally have a very big bum.
Can you just move that over slightly?
Of course I can.
Yeah, so I don't want to pull out.
What, like that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like work on the areas of weakness. What's your next one?
Right, the next one, Chris Bumstead.
Not natural. It's just, I mean, but he's very openly not natural, because I appreciate that in the industry, that someone's turning around and saying, I'm not natural. But he even spoke on the matter, and he said that there is a high likelihood, the amount of people that come into the gym that are on PEDs that you don't even know about it is astronomical, but they don't work hard enough.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Genetics, like with bodybuilding at elite level, you aren't guaranteed to win just because you're on PEDs and you train hard. Like, those top guys are also genetically gifted as well. Like, the muscle insertions, like, for example, if I tense my bicep, you're going to see a gap here, right? And that's very specific to me. So even if my bicep got bigger, I'd still have that gap. Whereas you might have a lower insertion, and so therefore the bicep covers more surface area. And unfortunately, bodybuilding is a very subjective sport. And if the judges and the people love to see a bicep a certain way, they're going to prefer that. And you can't do anything about that. No. So, but we obviously knew Chris Bumstead was going to be not natural because he said it.
Yeah.
But here's more an interesting one. Gregor Gallagher, Kino body.
No, I wouldn't say. I think, again, another guy who's trained for a while, and I think one perspective that people forget is a lot of people don't speak about how many years they've trained prior to getting to physique. There was a guy called Harry something coaching. He's got a lot of followers, but he did a post basically being like, I go to the gym and I've resistance trained for 10 years. Yeah. And people comment on how he has an average body. But an average body, and we spoke about this on a previous podcast, an average body which would have been deemed physically fit 5 years ago.
Harry Thorne coaching, that's what you're on about.
Harry Thorne coaching. Harry looks good.
That's who you're on about, right?
No, not Harry Thorne.
Okay.
Harry looks good though.
Yeah, he's in good shape. He's got some genetic advantages, plus he's used it.
And Louis, our editor, looking wham, mate. Just wanted to add a little clip in there. Looking jacked as shit.
We've got to add in this one, Michael Hearn.
No.
But Michael Hearn has claimed he's natural, and he's claimed it the whole of his career.
I think that's marketing. I think he does it because everyone knows he's not natural, so everyone just gets on his arse about it now. And he does his videos. Yeah. He's had cosmetics, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be opposed to taking steroids where he's already had work done. That makes sense. He's very visually, it must look good. Yeah,
no, he's a big boy. It's very hard to get that big naturally, to be fair. Genetically, there are some people that could. I do know a guy in Southampton, looks thick. Yeah, like steroid loser thick, and I know he's not on steroids. It's just insane. And obviously, we know Tommy as well. Yeah. Tommy's just what is he, 20 now?
22.
Man's built like he's 30 years old, mate. He's got the thickness in his arms, and he's definitely not on steroids.
No.
From what I've
heard.
He's
not.
But ladies, we haven't forgot you. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Kim Kardashian. Now, this doesn't mean steroids. This is PEDs. This can also include butt lifts. I'm not saying no Botox.
Yeah, but that's more cosmetic, like performance enhancing drugs.
That is included in this conversation.
So we're talking about cosmetic changes. Aesthetics. Oh yeah, well she's had butt lifts and stuff. Yeah. She's had cosmetic changes. I don't think she's been on performance enhancing drugs. Oh, but has she? I don't think performance enhancing. I think cosmetically enhance.
Well, this is the difference between females and males. I find online is that females are more likely to have the physical implants, etc., to improve the areas that they lose when they lose body fat.
Yeah.
Ladies will lose body fat around their boobs and their bum, and that will often make the shape, not as attractive as they want it to be, and so therefore they will look for other means to try and improve that. And it's hard for a lady because they have to lose fat to get lean, but then they also lose the things that make them feminine and make them feel good about themselves.
It's interesting you say that, because when I was in India on holiday, we went to the Russian part of India in Goa, And I didn't know this about like Russian ladies or kind of European ladies, but there's a big stigma around having large boobs and looking athletic. Like that is a very thing that the husbands look for. That is what they want. And I'll be honest, like Elle kept pointing out to me, and she was just like, you know, like all these people. I'm like, yes, I know the difference between real and fake, but like all these people, there was such a large proportion of people that had fake tits, like genuinely, but they looked athletically lean. So they'd done exactly what you'd done. They cut down and leaned down, and then gone, lost my tits. Yeah. Got to get some new ones.
Yeah. Men don't have that problem. So, like, honestly, ladies, I'm empathetic.
Technically,
I think it's harder for ladies.
We have the opposite problem, and it's actually a topic to raise, because when we're talking about genetics holding you back, gynecomastia, I think we spoke about it on a previous. Well, I suffer from it personally. I suffer from gynecomastia. I've got some around this region here, which causes the pec to sink down, and it causes man boobs, as people say. Yeah. When you pack on muscle, it looks less prevalent, and it's a very common problem in the industry. And a lot of younger lads struggle with it, and I think it's a confidence thing that takes away from your actual training performance. You can get surgery for it, where they actually literally remove the fat that comes around there. It's not something that builds up over time, and I think people believe by drinking loads of soy milk you suddenly build up mummy milkers, as they've been described about.
It's genetic, mate, as well. You know, because I've never suffered with it, and I've taken tren tests, steroids. You know, steroids have been very like highly linked to getting this condition. Amongst, you know, men that use it. And I've never had a problem with it. No. So genetically, it just goes to show that, you know, one person can have a problem that the other person doesn't. You know, it's amazing, really. Like,
definitely was a lady in a previous life. I've just clocked it.
Big
boobs, big bum. Yeah, you know.
You have got that feminine look about you.
Ah, thanks. I do try.
Let's go on to Courtney Black.
Yeah, no, she is just what would be described as a fit bunny. You know, she's got so much energy. I think she's just naturally a very kind of slimmer built person. She probably struggled, obviously, putting on weight over the years. She's had cosmetics. We know she's had cosmetics. You can tell she's had cosmetics.
What kind of cosmetics?
Boobs and face.
Boobs and face.
Not bum. No, worked hard for that. 100%.
Believe it or not, guys, I wasn't really as aware of this, but girls do get bum lifts.
Didn't know about that.
No, like I did know this.
You did
now,
know, but
like,
you didn't
over
know.
The last few years I knew this, but when I first started in the industry, I didn't think that was even a thing. But yeah, crazy.
So common. But that got endorsed. I think that came across in the Kardashians' really famous era as well, as butt lifts became a very popular thing. It became a way of solving the physical inadequacies that women felt, and they probably still feel to this day. But I think there's a lot more education around glute training now, especially to what we teach, that helps people to fully understand that actually you can train hard, grow the glutes you want. And there's ladies that I've spoken to, for example, there's a lady that I trained back in summertime, and she came to me and she was like, I just don't have a bum. I have no bum whatsoever. Year down the line, she's like, everyone's complimenting my bum. Everyone's saying, I want your bum. And I'm like, literally a year of hard, solid work. And I'm not even saying she was 100% consistent, but she worked hard at it. And you can do it. It's another thing where you don't just go.
Yeah. I don't think, look, I've trained a lot of girls too, right? And I definitely see, like, there is a limit for some people. They'll never have, some people will never have the arse that they see on Instagram with an influencer that genetically has a great arse. Even if they train it really hard, they get the right amount of body fat level per, you know, depending on obviously what their body fat level is. And there is a limit. Like, you can't grow the shape that isn't there.
No.
You can make it bigger, of course, but it will be a different shape to what you probably want it to be. You can't change the fat shape, first of all. Fat shape is fat shape. Whatever that is, that's stuck. You can either lose it or gain it. But the glute shape, it's set. You can make it bigger. You can make it look better, and people will compliment it the same, but it will look completely different. It will look like it will be your specific shape. You don't have to look at this comparison of wanting, who's this one that I've got here as an example, Summer Rae or Kim Kardashian or whatever. Like, I had a female say that she really wants Kim Kardashian's body, and I'm like, I looked at the arms of Kim Kardashian. She doesn't even train her upper body.
Have you seen the video? At all. There was a video that went viral years ago. Have you seen that one of where she wore a black outfit with this trainer and she was doing like an arm workout, and it was the most painful workout I have ever watched for a TV commercial, whatever she was doing. But she wasn't training them right. And I've seen loads of videos of people like the Kardashians training, and they train, well, shit.
They don't know how to train, man.
They don't know how to train.
No.
Like, it is fascinating.
They're genetics, mate. They're just like that. And, you know, arguably, depends on what you think about it, but they're not arguably the most attractive people on the earth anyway.
No, I agree.
Which a lot of people seem to think they are.
But cosmetically, they are deemed kind of the goddesses of cosmetic well-being.
Yeah.
You think Khloe Kardashian? She lost tons of weight.
I won't lie, I only know Kim Kardashian, and all the other ones I'm completely...
Khloe Kardashian was the one went through a massive physical change, not from male to female. She didn't do what... that
Mr. Beast Chris guy.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember the name. But, yeah, like, there was just mad. Yeah, it's just crazy. What you got next?
Anyway, you guys, genetics.
I digress.
Genetics is important. That's what we're trying to say at the moment, but doesn't mean that you can't look great. Right, so... we want to go through what you can do to fix it. So if you've got bad genetics, let's just excuse what I said there. If you've got genetics that aren't optimal for looking like the influencers you see on social media, it's not all be lost, because a little bit of hard work, a little bit of smart training, and a bit of smart nutrition can change, how you look in a positive way. And just like you can't develop the shape of the abs to look any different than the way they're already genetically there, you can at least reveal them and make them slightly bigger and make them look slightly better, to the point where people do compliment you the same. And so we do that through, first of all, smart strength training. Yeah.
Yep.
So building muscle, hypertrophy training, time and attention, probably the most critical thing. Like, you cannot grow a muscle without actually engaging it first under time and attention, and then obviously feeding enough protein for it to grow. So you need to get the hypertrophy side of things right.
Yeah, I think one thing that people miss off is a lot of... let's go on the lady topic for a minute, because I feel like we've got a continuation there. A lot of ladies miss the mark when it comes to wanting to develop their physique because they're scared of eating more. It's one of the big fear factors, I feel like, with a lot of ladies that I train. They're always happy to be in a deficit, but they're not happy to go into a surplus because they worry they're going to get fat.
I know.
And a lot of the time, that's not how it works. Like, it takes a long time. Put yourself in a 10% surplus for a period of time, measure your weight, and measure just kind of like the changes in your body with measuring tapes, and just sit there and see how long it takes you to progress that muscle over time. You do get some like genetic goddesses out there who put on muscle pretty quickly. I train one at the minute.
That's what mesos and endos tend to be.
Yeah.
That's like, back on our conversation at the beginning, ectos might struggle with this, and it doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means you're going to struggle a little bit more. Your goal is to eat more calories to actually grow the muscle. Yeah. And you raised a good point. I mean, you've got to eat more. You've got to eat more in order to grow a muscle. Like, you can recomp where you are in a slight deficit and training at the beginning of your journey. As you get more advanced, you need to start being a bit more smart about eating more calories and the right calories in order to grow.
I agree. I think one thing you got to bear in mind, though, is, again, this conversation comes in from a standpoint of someone who is already, say, slightly slimmer built, and now they're in the phase of wanting to build muscle. My argument always is, with males and females, before you start to build muscle, cut away the body fat you have first. Get lean, see what you can get down to, and then build from that, and know where your baseline sits for your current muscle mass, because I guarantee you're going to uncover a physique that you're prouder of than what you think you need to do by doing two things at once.
Yeah.
Building muscle, gaining fat at the same time, it's almost like just, trying to fill two cups at the same time. It doesn't work. You've got to do one equidistantly, and it takes so much longer to get the two cups full.
It's just beginners.
Yeah, like me or you, for example.
Like advanced lifters or intermediate. Let's say you've been lifting for more than 6 months to 2 years. Even if you're someone that has been in shape before and you've lost it and you've come back in, you technically are a beginner initially. You can see both. But at kind of our level, intermediate level, advanced level, whatever, it is difficult.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. It's a challenge, and you really have to balance things right to get yourself in that position that you start doing. But it also comes with doing adequate strength training, still looking after your cardiovascular system, making sure that you haven't got any knocks, injuries, or anything that's going to slow you down. Again, dietary side, making sure you get enough protein in. What did I see the other day? I saw a woman she's a bit of a comedian, and she was talking about the amount of protein that people are needing to eat per day. She had a group of... I always call it faggy or whatever it's...
Faggy? 0% fake. Faggy.
Faggy.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
I don't know. If
I know what it is. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I can never pronounce it. I don't know. Anyway, she was complaining about like all these people saying I need to get 120 grams of protein. But did you know about protein farts? Like how bad a protein fart is? And this is another thing that puts people off, is genuinely like small things like this from people eating more. But it's not a bad thing. These are simple trade-offs that you got in your life that allow you to feel better, feel more confident, and feel more energized in what you're doing.
Mate, protein is the one macronutrient. If you increase it, if you're deficient, that is, it will change your life.
It will, and it will just change so many different sections of your life.
And I think when I say that, a lot of people think, I don't want to be a gym bro. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to be big and jacked. It's like, we're not saying that adding more protein to your diet will make you jacked. It'll make you more toned.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to look more toned? Stop thinking that you're going to be this jacked bodybuilder walking around like, oh no, I've got too big now.
I tell you one way that kind of gets around it for the conversation with a lot, and again, this generally comes from ladies. I do stem it from ladies, but some blokes do turn around and say it too. But if you think about, a lot of ladies desire firmness in muscle. They want firmness in their arms. They don't want to hold their arm out and it wobbles. That's one big thing. Bro. Well, exactly.
Even guys that want to get bigger, when you say you want to get bigger, you're thinking, I want toned, strong muscles. Like,
if we got people to draw it out, then we kind of understand what they're looking at. But that toning, that kind of firmness comes from muscle tissue. I had a client turn around. I love this. This makes me so happy, which is hence why my bio says CEO of Getting Rid of Bingo Wings. She turned around to me and she was like, Dan, I've got to tell you something. I was like, what? She was like, I've got bicep. I was like, show me your bicep. And she does. She's got like that little bicep coming along. I love that. That's like a great moment in your journey when you're like, and she's been training for like 4 months now, and she's starting to see that difference. But this is a key indicator.
But there's a lot of girls that don't want arms or biceps.
No, but it like, comes along with training, doesn't it?
It's weird because like I've seemed to like, there's like a very distinct line between the two type of females I speak to about it. One wants the bicep, and one's like, I want the thinnest arms possible. I just want the booty and the legs. And it's like, it's just crazy how there's such a divide between like the gym girls now that want to get big and the girls that want to like stay skinny on the arms. Petite. When if you train the arms, they won't necessarily get big. No. Like, it will just help them look more toned.
It's illusion, isn't it?
What I'm saying is everyone wants the tone.
Yeah.
But no one wants to do the bicep curls to get it.
No.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, you're not going to get big from doing bicep curls unless you like lifting some freakishly heavy weight over like a good amount of time and you're dedicating towards growing it.
I'll be brutally honest. If I ever see a lady curling over 10 kg, it is quite the rarity. Yeah. Genuinely, and that's not me stereotyping, the large percentage of women cannot lift over 10 kg on a bicep curl.
I don't think, look, honestly, if you don't want big arms, you want to tone them, you don't even need bicep curls. You just need an upper body movement.
Yeah.
Like a lat pull down, a seated row will develop the back, make it like nice and toned, and develop the bicep, but in a way that doesn't overpower them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Like, I think bicep curls are there for those that either have an injury or want to like isolate and get the bicep bigger.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this is the thing. You've got to think strength as a whole. A lot of ladies, when they speak about, I think Mash, if she watches this podcast, which we made she did, Mash did a great reel on this the other day, and she was speaking about when ladies sometimes talk to PTs, it can go lost that they just want to get stronger. The way you get stronger is whole body strongness and whole body firmness. It's the way you do it. You have to do everything, and then you can isolate in these focused areas. So
yeah, I mean, we kind of lost sight of a little bit of what we started with. But basically, if you've got horrible genetics and you don't look good at all, focus on training, progressive overload, get in the gym or train at home, get some bands, doesn't have to be weights, start building some strength in the body, eat more protein. Okay, so your nutrition needs to obviously improve. Like, if you're not someone that's looked at your diet for the last 10 years or 2 years or whatever, and you're just eating whatever you want, like, that's not going to help you. Have a look at it, start tracking it.
I've got a general rule of thumb for progressive overload that I'd like to share with people. It's kind of a hack for progressive overload. Now, a lot of people don't know when to progress their weights, and I feel like it's one of the biggest barriers that people face in the gym. They're like, okay, I've been training, say, bicep curls for ages now. Say I'm doing sets of 4 kg, and I've eventually got to a point where I'm doing 12 reps. Great. What you normally want to do is I like to use a ranging system. So whenever I'm training clients, if I'm doing stuff for muscle building, I do a range of 8 to 15 reps normally. If you're 15? Hitting 8 to 15, this is, bearing in mind, this is working at a beginner level.
Yeah.
If we're moving up to the intermediate advanced, I'll get onto that in a second. 8 to 15 for your beginner level, because let's think about junk volume. A lot of people, when they're doing those reps, technique and form is shit. Yep. I'll be brutally honest, a lot of people's form and technique is shit. So if we have a large coverage of reps, it means the majority are going to be good or better, and they'll slowly improve with more time. Like, whenever you rehearse a skill, you repeat the reps, it gets better each one you do because you become more proprioceptive. So I say 8 to 15. 8 is your bottom line, 15 is your max. If you hit 15 on an exercise, increase your weight. If you're doing bicep curls, increase it by 1 kg or 2 kg. You don't want to go crazy for it. If you're doing compound exercises like a squat, increase maybe by 2.5 or 10. So, sorry, 2.5 or 5. That's what you're going to be looking at. Another rep range you can do, which is where your query came in. 6 to 8 is normally what I like to work in.
8 to 12.
You like an 8 to 12,
well, but 8 to 12 is like what I would say is the base.
Is that do you enjoy that range then? That's like your staple range you've found success from?
No, like there's like, this is based on studies in the past that have determined that 8 to 12 reps at, a 5-second tempo, which is 40 to 60 seconds in total time and tension, is optimal for muscle growth.
Okay.
So 8 to 12 has been determined to be like the best kind of middle ground between wanting size or being stronger.
Is this in advanced lifters, beginner lifters?
I mean, 15. No, don't get me wrong. 15 reps, you will grow.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying you won't.
I'm just curious on like the kind of people doing it as well, because the reason I say 6 to 8 is, again, this is something new that Jeff Nippard, Pack has gone into. Dr. Pack, he's gone into it, and they've spoken about it. It is more about the amount of effort you put into a set. Like for me and you, we know what RPE we need to work at, rate of perceived exertion for anyone out there, that we need to get to hit 8.
Yeah.
I know I need to be blown out of my bum by 5. And I need to, those last 3 reps are going to be a struggle. I'm going to be slow. You're almost thinking that you're kind of dragging it up like that. That's kind of the speed that we're going at for that one.
Time under tension, baby.
Time under tension, exactly, as Nick said. So these things cross over, and I argue that you've kind of got to put rep range in that suits you. Beginners, I'll go with more reps, just personally. And then as you move through the phases, you can even get to a point where you're doing like 4 to 6 with some people, if they're really switched on about what they're doing.
No, 6 to 8 are good, but like if we're talking about like having 3 sets, a pyramid set is most ideal, because you'll have your starting set where you build up anyway, then you'll have your like 6 to 8 rep kind of heavy set, and then you'll back off, and you only need 1 set of intense effort for a muscle to grow. Any extra work on top of that doesn't really do anything to it. So a pyramid, the beauty of a pyramid is to have that 1 set where you destroy the muscle. You could say train to failure in this case, and then you 2 sets where you're not training to failure as much, but they're just to build up and back off. But I think we're getting too much into the weeds of like what they should do.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the main thing is, like, with this very limited time we have today on this topic, is that you should be strength training for some degree.
Yep.
Ladies that don't want to get big, you're not going to get big. Just do some kind of strength training. That could be push-ups at home. That could be squats. That could be getting a resistance band and doing some shoulder raises with it. Do something.
What I'll say is as well, we have got hopefully a lovely lady coming on from Australia onto the podcast very, very soon. And she will enlighten you all on the kind of, struggles of ladies training, stuff she's gone through to progress that. So stay tuned for that next episode, because I think it's going to be very, very eye-opening in terms of our listeners and our viewers, because it'll be good.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to round off with, dude?
I mean, this is just a little summary sheet here, but I don't have anything else to go. I mean, I think if you're someone that's genetically,
doomed.
Yeah. Well, if you feel like you're not, if you feel like you're not able to get in the best shape compared to other people you see on social media because somehow you're flawed, like, I get that feeling, because in the industry myself, being a 6'4" guy, very lanky, find it very hard to gain muscle. I'm surrounded by these people myself, and I see these guys in great shape. I've been training for 15 years. I'm that guy on Instagram that's saying, I've been training for 16 years and this is what body looks like, and everyone takes the piss out of. It's like,
but you look great.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the point. I feel like I'm nowhere near that level compared to the people that genetically have it, taking the roids and whatever, and that's fine. Like, you have to just kind of accept that that's the reality of how your body looks, and people look up to that.
Yeah.
People look up to what you look like, even though you're not that level. It's crazy. Like, it's all subjective.
Yeah, it is. Everything's subjective, and I think that's why you need to keep yourself in your own zone and your own lane. But we appreciate you guys watching anyway. Thank you for liking, following, subscribing. Now, to make sure you support the podcast, please make sure to leave us a follow if you're over on Spotify, a subscription if you're on YouTube. These things just help us grow, and it means we can get more bigger guests on over time. Obviously, we've had Simon Squibb on, we've had people like Dodge Woodall on, we've had Laura Hayter on, we've had Anna Hunt on, we've had some huge guests over the years, and we're only going to keep bringing people through. So
over years.
It is years. We've done like this.
It is
nearly
now.
2 years now.
Mate, that's weird to hear.
Yeah, I know. We're nearly at 100 episodes, so we've got to pull our finger out for that one.
That'll be a special episode.
But we appreciate you guys. We will catch you guys later.